better this season at center for the Sacramento Kings. Jason Williams is the phenom at the point. Divac's playing well despite the distractions of the Serbian conflict. Game suspension. The player of the week last week in the NBA, and the Sacramento Kings have the ball. One of the more entertaining teams in the NBA. Sacramento is second in the league in scoring, but defense, I don't know. Jason Williams getting in the air with nowhere to go with it. Offense breaking down. Abdul Wahad with the jump shot, and the Utah Jazz coming right back on a 7-game win streak. Played last night in Vancouver, won 98-80 without Malone. Stockton to Karl over Weber.
Bob, so much of this game today will be depending on how the defense is playing for both teams in the double team area. Neither team wants to have to go and play double team basketball.
Vlade Divac playing very well in the last 10 games. Jason Williams, long three off the glass.
And obviously this team could play with probably about a 15-second clock, the way they like to put it up from all over the place.
Opening moments from Arco. We'll keep you posted on the final score in that Lakers-Portland game. Jason Williams and Stockton collide down low. And the foul's going to be on Jason Williams. Jason Williams, only 21 years old, out of the University of Florida. John Stockton and Williams, I mean, Stockton's not quite old enough to be Jason's dad. But he was 16 when Jason was born. John with the easy jumper there, and it is 4-3, Utah. Chris Webber setting the pick for Jason Williams. Webber, the NBA's leading rebounder, tried to get that one, but lost it out of bounds. It'll be Jazz ball.
Bob, very interesting point both coaches made, and we don't hear this very often, is that they said that both their offense fuels their defense for very different reasons, and we'll get into it through the course of the game. I'll show you some examples of what we're talking about.
Stockton looking for the high post with Malone. At the elbow, reversal, Hornacek. The 5 on the shot clock. That's a triple for Jeff Hornacek. Jeff had 18 points last night, including 9 points in a 9-minute stretch. He's been slumping lately, but may have broken out of it last night, and Utah hasn't missed. They are 3 out of 3. And we have a foul on Abdul Wahad, and let's go to Cheryl Miller.
Thanks a lot, Bob. With the escalating conflict in Kosovo, the last 5 days have been extremely tough on Vlade Divac, but he got some recent good news. He was promised visas to Budapest for his parents and his niece. He said the only drawback right now is trying to find a safe route for them to get to the embassy, and he's hoping that all this can be resolved as early as this Friday.
Thanks, Cheryl. As Karl Malone hits the jump shot, Vlade Divac in the 10 games since that conflict broke out, the bombing began, has actually played better. His numbers are up. Vlade says it's the only place that he gets a little peace of mind. He's been losing weight, has trouble sleeping, but can kind of escape into the game during the time it's being played. Divac with the rebound. Chris Webber missing from the baseline. Abdul Wahad with excellent hands took it away from Hornacek. New shot clock. It was touched by the Jazz. Kings ball.
Well, the Kings are playing their best basketball when they get some ball movement. As you see, they shoot the ball very quickly. That is only good when they're shooting a great percentage. Otherwise, it gets them in big trouble.
And Divac couldn't handle it. Stockton comes away with it. All-time leader in steals and assists in the NBA. But you knew that.
Oh, yeah. I've had a few done on me.
Malone from Ostertag to Hornacek. Incredibly good ball movement, as usual. Webber with the rebound. By the way, the Portland Trailblazers beat the LA Lakers, the final 113-86. Abdul Wahad with a turnaround in the paint, only about an 8-foot shot.
And Abdul Wahad has been very aggressive offensively. Not a guy who takes a lot of shots in the course of the game, but going against Hornacek, he's really being aggressive.
He only averages 9.3 points a game. He's more of a defensive player. As Rick Edelman told us, he's really the only true talent defensively on the team. Nice feed to Brian Russell, who lays it in.
One of the things that they have to do, obviously, is be disciplined with their offense, and that is a great example of discipline.
Good interior pass to Divac. Has to shoot it over Ostertag. Good poise by the veteran. I can't believe I'm saying that. Remembering when he came into the league, by the veteran Vlade Divac in his 9th year. Vlade, 31 years old. Signed a 6-year, $62.5 million contract here at Sacramento. Stockton misses. Divac has it stolen, gets it back, however. Jason Williams threw that ball intended for Corliss Williamson, and it hit the crowd. It was tipped by Utah. It'll be Sacramento ball, but it reminded me of a line drive foul in baseball.
Bob,
they scattered over there.
Bob, that's about as hard as I've ever seen a player throw a ball to another player on the court.
Vlade tries from 3. Big rebound, bounces out of bounds to the Utah Jazz.
Wow. One of the big problems with the Kings, obviously, if you look at their team, I've had a chance to watch this team on several games this year, is they don't value the basketball. They have a tendency to do plays like that unnecessarily, always going for the home run. I should talk, of course, but I learned a lot since I stopped playing.
Brian Russell loses it. He tried to get past Corliss Williamson. Jason Williams had Corliss out there, couldn't get him the ball, however. Does get it to Wahad. That's a 2 from the corner. And it's 11-9 Utah, 7 minutes, 8 seconds remaining in the first period.
And Wahad almost at his game average for shots attempted.
The Sacramento team averages 98.9 points a game. That's second in the NBA. Utah averages 93.7. Shot clock down to 5 seconds. 1 extra pass from Malone, 2 Russell for 3, and that's a veteran ball player who knew exactly how much time was left and whether he had the time to make the pass to the perimeter.
And that's exactly what Jerry Sloan was saying. If we take care of our offensive end, it helps us defensively because we're much better defensively when we're set, not when teams are running on us.
Divac backs Ostertag down deep for the easy little hook. It's 14-11 Utah. Divac has 4 points, as does Abdul Wahad. Tariq Abdul Wahad, by the way, is from San Jose State in his 2nd year. Divac with the rebound. You may recall his name was Olivier St. Jean when he played at San Jose State. He changed it a couple of years ago. Stockton on the run, Brian Russell, followed by Malone. Like a well-oiled machine. And this team is playing their 5th game in 6 nights. We'll see how well-oiled they stay late in the ballgame. Ostertag down low.
Well, the Jazz probably not playing their best basketball, but, you know, this is a team where the lockout probably affected them more than anything because the timing, they have so many timing plays and so much of their continuity comes from their practice.
Nobody in white underneath to rebound the miss from Chris Webber, and back comes Utah leading at 5.
Oh.
What a pass inside to Malone, and Webber fouls him.
You know what I appreciate so much is the subtle eye contact that that Malone and Stockton have for that little back door. That's just a great play by the Jazz, playing well here in Sacramento. Up by 5. Look at Stockton's eyes. Now right here, guys, freeze it right there. See Webb's head is completely turned up here. Let it go. And obviously that's years of playing together. As soon as Webb's head was turned, Stockton realized it, and so did Malone. At the same exact time, they moved in cohesion for that layup. I enjoy those kind of plays in basketball, especially coming from these two. That's just plain ball. There's no secret to that type of ball playing.
Easley, who splits time at the point guard with John Stockton, is in the ball game. Easley is having a great year in the 2 games he's played against Sacramento. Averages 14.5 points. Is shooting 77% from the floor against Sacramento, and that's in only 20 minutes average in the 2 games. So Easley is kind of a Kings killer here, as he plays about 27 minutes a game at the point, and Stockton plays about 28. Malone with the hands in the passing lane knocks it out. It'll be Kings ball. How well are the Jazz playing as a team? All 5 Jazz starters have scored at least a field goal. 4 of the 5 starters have recorded assists. Jazz are shooting 64%. The Jazz, who are 3rd in the NBA in assists, have 6 already on 7 field goals in this game. That's the Utah Jazz. Hornacek. Another assist if it went in, but no, it'll be an offensive tip in for Karl Malone. It's kind of interesting as the NBA announced his one-game suspension for throwing the punch against Othello Harrington in Sunday's game against Houston. As that announcement came out, he's also announced his player of the week. It's kind of good news, bad news. Weber over Malone.
Weber, great job down low. He's got that jump hook down pat, along with his great rebound. He's having one heck of a year and loves to play against Karl Malone.
That basket stopped an 8-2 run by the Jazz. It's 19-13. Hornacek. He was red hot last night, as I told you, but has been slumping lately. But last night, Jeff Hornacek scored 9 points in one 9-minute stretch. Jason Williams. Isley with the rebound. 3-on-3. Isley taking it all the way to the hoop, but Divac was there to cause him to alter the shot.
Right now, the Kings just flat out being outworked by a team who's on their third back-to-back-to-back game here.
Hornacek from Isley doesn't get it this time. Weber with another rebound. Told you already that Chris Weber is the NBA's leading rebounder at 12.9 per game. Corliss Williamson draws the double team. That left Vlade Divac open. He misses the lay-in, but is fouled by Greg Ostertag.
You know, and it's funny because Coach Adowin said earlier today, Bob, he said that he doesn't understand how Vlade gets some of his shots off. He looks like he's stopped, he's stumbling, and somehow he weaves his way to the basket and gets it up on the boards. It is amazing. He's having a heck of a year himself.
Yeah, Rick Adelman said he has been the anchor of this basketball team, of course, along with Chris Webber's play, but Divac is there night after night after night in terms of consistency. Adelman's first year with the Kings, of course, he had some great teams up in Portland. We asked him about his stint at Golden State. He says, I've forgotten it already.
Oh, wow, that's a good one. How quickly. He also said that Vlade, if it wasn't for Vlade, they would have won 10 games this year. That's a big statement.
21-15 Utah. 3:37 to go first period. Hornacek. Very underrated two-guard in my opinion. Of course, I've said that so much, he's rated now. Malone with 6 on the shot clock tries the turnaround jumper. Divac with the rebound. Corliss Williamson nearly traveled and also nearly had him over and back. Also nearly had him stolen. Nearly for Corliss Williamson. Weber spinning inside on Malone, draws the double team. Divac wanted to pass, maybe one pass too many to Williamson. Hit the bottom of the rim. It's still alive. Shot clock to 5 as Malone picks it up. Gets it to Isley, back to Malone. And Malone is not fouled.
Well, he got it all up in the air, Bob. No body contact. I thought that was a great block by Abdul Wahad. On the drive, Malone goes up strong, but Wahad has the angle. Now check it out. He's above the ball, and his body, you see there's space. Nothing but showing the guy the lights.
And that excited this Arco Arena crowd. More important because they are battling for that 8th and final playoff spot. You see what's coming up for Sacramento. Of all those 4 teams, they have the best shot in terms of home and road, and only 3 games against plus 500 teams. How important, Reggie, for this Sacramento team to make the playoffs? That jump shot from Isley.
Well, I think when you know the history of this club, they've made a lot of bad decisions in the recent years, but I think Jeff Peja has done a great job of getting some talent, getting some people that excite the fans, and they have things to work with. They have a nucleus of Williams and Weber and Wahad and Vlade. They can find other guys to play defense for this organization, but just a huge coup if they could sneak into the playoffs. And I like the fact that they only have 3 teams that they play that are 500 or better clubs.
Sound like you have a little bit of emotional involvement in the Sacramento Kings.
Well, I was played on the first team that came here, so yeah, I am a little bit emotional, and I'm happy for them. But just more than anything, I like the fact that they have a direction. So for so long, they floundered in the area of not having a direction of where they wanted to go with this team.
Jason Williams is lightning on his feet and also quick on the trigger. Here's the lob into Malone, who had the mismatch with Jason Williams down low. Isley missed him, out of bounds. It'll be Sacramento Kings ball. And as we drove in, you were talking about how great the fans are here. We see tailgating outside
yeah.
Sacramento. You'd think it was prior to a football game. You don't see a lot of tailgating at NBA games, but I guess mainly because it's a little cold in, say, Boston.
Well, I know. Hey, that's just one of the quaint things that you find in a smaller city, as Corliss Williamson finding a way to get into the game. struggling trying to find his way in this offense, being a post-up player, having to go outside with Webb and Vlade playing in the post most of the time now.
You know, he lost some weight, trimmed down, and has moved from power forward to small forward, which is always a big adjustment as Malone hits that jumper. Corliss Williamson, you recall, was the first-round 13th pick overall in 95 out of Arkansas. They played that championship game and beat Duke in 94 for the NCAA title. Corliss Williamson, a big part of that. Malone, by the way, with 9 points early. It's 25-18. Utah. Divac backing Ostertag in relatively easily. He's moving him down there after he gets the ball in his hands.
And Vlade inherently wants to go underneath players because he can't really go over anybody. But of course, Ostertag not the greatest post player in this game. They're going to have to give him some help with Vlade.
3 times Vlade has scored over Ostertag as Brian Russell hits the 3, and it's 28-20 Utah. Brian Russell also playing well lately at 17 last night and 18 on Sunday. And 1 on that play. That's 6 points for Abdul Wahad.
Corliss Williamson down on the low post. Look at him working for position before the ball gets there. I like that. And then using that big body to push Russell down underneath the basket. Nothing that he could do about it. And Williams, the big mama's boy he is, finding a way to make it happen. I like that because he's struggling so much trying to fit in and get things done, and he's working hard at it.
Hawkins and Maxwell in for the Sacramento Kings as Corliss Williamson has 4 points now. 46 seconds to go in the period. Russell. Ostertag can't hold on to it. Maxwell can. Mad Max has been playing great. Divac goes down. He's all right. Divac open from the perimeter. .23 seconds to go in the period. 28-23 Utah.
And this is the pace that the Jazz want tonight because they are playing a lot of games in a few nights here.
Thurl Bailey from Easley. Hornacek kept it alive, got it back to Ostertag. Hornacek scrambling around, looking for the loose ball, and it's 30-23 with just under 3 seconds. Weber will have a chance for the shot. At the end of 1, Utah 30, Sacramento 23.
Running their sets and very disciplined with the Kings defense. If you take your time, you're going to get a good shot. That's simple.
Weber with a rebound off the miss from Howard Easley. Earl Bailey in the ballgame. Also, Shannon Anderson just checked in wearing number 40. He'll be
Now, Bob, this is the second unit that has done so well against the Jazz in the past. One of the reasons is they make the tempo of the game higher, and that's when the Kings play their best basketball.
Weber runs it down and throws it right into the hands of Howard Easley, who runs right smack into Micheal Hawkins. Remember Micheal Hawkins from a couple of years ago? We were doing the McDonald's Open in Paris, and Micheal Hawkins at that time was playing for Olympiacos of Greece. He was a CBA player and was waived by Portland, picked up as a free agent here by Sacramento.
But look at the defense. When Hawkins is playing defense on the point, he's up and playing hard, putting pressure on him.
Maxwell runs down the long miss.
And when you match Hawkins and Maxwell with their ability to get out and play defense, this becomes a very interesting second unit.
Here is Lawrence Thunderbird. And Peja Stojakovic. Excellent shooter, not this time. Thurl Bailey kept it alive to Ostertag to Easley. Thurl Bailey spent 8.5 years with the Jazz, then went overseas, now came back.
I think that's so funny. One of the only teams you could actually go away from and come back and everything's still the same.
Thurl Bailey kept it alive and scored down low there. Thurl Bailey. He is 38 years old now. Spent the last 4 years in Greece and Italy. You remember Thurl came out of North Carolina State. Plays about 13.5 minutes a game here. Utah with their biggest lead. It's of 9. And the foul is on Thurl Bailey. Early in the second quarter, 10-14 remaining. Biggest lead of the game for Utah. This is the second unit, as Reggie was telling you, that in the last game here that Sacramento won in overtime, scored 83 points total as a unit. Now, if you remember, Weber did not play as he hits the jump hook there, and thus there was more playing time for the second unit, but they totaled 83 points in that win over Utah.
They have a tendency to get the Jazz, Bob, into a much higher tempo basketball game. And most of it has stemmed from their defense, just like that.
Yeah, Thunderbird, nice play. Here's Hawkins on the run.
In the game that they won, Bob, the Jazz had 26 turnovers, which turned into easy baskets for the Kings.
Shannon Anderson, Thurl Bailey. Ostertag with the shot clock down to 10. Weber defending Bailey. Brian Russell went for 3 over Stojakovic, but way wide this time. And a chance to cut further into this lead that was at 9. Funderburk, the left-hander, misses. Thurl Bailey with the rebound.
And you can see the confusion offensively for the Jazz with a little bit of pressure that the Kings are putting on them.
Kickball. Get a new shot clock. We have a timeout. Todd Fuller will be checking in for Utah. He's the second-year center out of North Carolina State when we return. Sacramento's second unit bringing it closer, 32-27. You had something you want to show us about Chris Webber.
But Bailey is giving contact and then letting it go and then giving more contact. And, of course, Webber at the same time trying to feel the defense so that he can make the drop-step move. Great defense by Thurl Bailey.
Bailey misses. Fuller, who just checked into the game, puts it back up, misses, and Shannon Anderson finally tips it in. Todd Fuller is playing an increasingly significant role for Utah. You remember Fuller was drafted by the Golden State Warriors, had a good rookie year, did not play well last year. He's very much happier here, playing about 12 minutes. He's played in 31 games, 6'11". Weber, good pass, good intentions. Wanted to hit Stojakovic inside, stolen by Stockton, and that results in a transition basket. Stockton to Howard Easley, as both of them are in the game at the same time now. 36-27, that Jazz 9-point lead that had been cut to 5 is right back to 9 with 8:07 to go in the half. Here is Funderburk. Weber. Patented jumper for Paul.
That's great team defense by Stockton also.
Thurl Bailey back to Stockton. Easley. You'd think the Jazz have practiced more than Jerry Sloan say they've been able to practice, and he was bemoaning the fact that with their precision team defense, lack of practice really hurt them. But you watch them move that ball around, it's still a well-oiled machine.
Well, it's just timing is so critical for this team, and so many of their plays are instantaneous off of movement, and when you don't have that practice time, you can't get that cohesion.
10 on the shot clock. Maxwell tried to take it to the rim, now it's down to 7. We've got an offensive foul on Sacramento.
Easy call to make. Weber on the step back, just pushed off, trying to gain a little more space. Now watch his elbow right here on the push. Bailey gives a little bit of a flop, but obviously right in front of the ref, not a tough call to make.
Second foul on Chris Weber with 7:18 to go in the second period. Utah by 9.
Then second straight turnover.
Maxwell defending Easley. Weber back on Malone. Malone tried to lob it into Stockton, who had Hawkins posted. You don't see John Stockton posting people very often.
Well, he got great position. He had him on the high side of his hip. He asked for the lob, and of course the pass was much too of a straight and narrow pass. Hawkins just stuck in the defense with nobody thinking about helping him.
Fuller now defending Chris Weber. Weber unhappy when he was traded here from Mitch Richmond from Washington, but after he came to training camp, he got happier. Now he likes it here, he says.
Well, you know, one of the things you have to appreciate about Weber, Bob, is the fact that he did not want to be here, but he has come and played some of his best basketball of his career, probably realizing that it's his chance to really do something positive for a team. A lot of problems coming here, and I think possibly the one thing that sticks out in my mind is that he's never had great team success, and here's a great opportunity that he's taken total advantage of. Mentioned in some places, just in the ballpark, having an MVP type season. Obviously nowhere near the top. But, of course, just being mentioned is a pretty nice thing.
Some of the upcoming games on Turner Sport: Pacers-Sixers on Friday, Pacers-Celtics, TBS on Monday, Spurs-Jazz, and Lakers-Warriors in the double dip on Tuesday. Upcoming games on Turner Sports: Scott Pollard has checked into the game for the Kings. He wears number 31. Several of these players who played in Kansas are here playing tonight together. Ostertag, Jacques Vaughn. I would say they're playing, but they're on teams. Pollard tips it, and Funderburk, I love his name, Funderburk. That's right. Hawkins to Funderburk. That's a 2. Lawrence Funderburk is in his second year. He played at Ohio State. Good offensive rebounder, good step-back jumper, as you just saw. He played with Peja Stojakovic in Greece, and he wears number 51 because he was the 51st player drafted when he was drafted in the second round. And that's why he wears it. Says he wants to always remind himself how hard it is to get to the level he's playing now. Greg Foster is also checking into the ballgame. Greg started for Utah last night in place of Malone, who was suspended. Vlade Divac back in with 8 points and 5 boards. Foster's playing time has been sporadic of late, but he did play well last night.
Well, if you notice, for the most part, they really don't need him until the playoffs. that's usually when he gets to play.
Jason Williams showing you the speed and quickness, forcing the foul to be called. It is on Stockton. Yeah, that's his first on John Stockton. I told you earlier, 16 years older than Jason Williams.
That is amazing.
Vlade against Foster. Someone got a hand on that, but the follow by Scott Pollard. 36-33, the second unit floundered around a bit. Some of the second unit's still out there. Now the Kings have got a couple of their starters back on the floor. And it's a 3-point game with 5:19 to go in the half. Looking for Malone. Inside of Pollard, drew the foul on Scott. Not much you could do on that.
And listen, Pollard had no chance to get that rebound, but right here, he shows you how to get a follow-up slam dunk and a little look in the crowd. Kind of figured we were going to give him a little replay.
Talk about some talent at Kansas when he was playing at Kansas. I'm talking about Scott Pollard again. I told you he played with Ostertag. He played with Rafe LaFrance. He played with Paul Pierce, Jacques Vaughn. Wow, no wonder they won so many ball games. Malone with the first free throw. NBC on Saturday night. Showtime begins at 8 Eastern Time, followed by the Lakers at these Utah Jazz. And Reggie, how about the Lakers getting clobbered tonight, 113-86 by Portland?
I don't know. It's a bit disgusting to watch that talented of a team sit there and have as many problems internally as they have. And it really is disheartening.
Stojakovic to Divac. Stojakovic, Divac, both Serbians. Stojakovic, idol when he was a youngster, was Vlade Divac. Divac with the foul. Malone steps in to clean the boards. Out of bounds off Malone, Sacramento ball. Crowds got into this. It's a 5-point Utah lead. 4:56 to go in the half. These Kings are so explosive, averaging 98.9 points a game, second best in the NBA. They'll give up a lot, obviously, on defense. But they can score.
If you let them hang around, you're putting yourself at great risk with the way they can score.
Just ask the Jazz. Stockton with a beautiful pass all the way across the baseline. The block shot, Stojakovic, Jason Williams. Look at that pass to Maxwell. Miss, followed by Pollard, won't go. Stockton with the ball and back. Nicely. I thought he was going to pull up and take that jumper, but not on Utah's team. Maybe somewhere else. Maybe here at Sacramento.
Definitely in Sacramento. But why would you pull up and take a chance and miss him when you got a guy that can shoot the fall-away jumper with anybody? Karl Malone.
Has 13. Averaged 28.8 points a game last week. is 5 of 8 field goals tonight. Maxwell working on Easley. That's a fall-away jumper if I ever saw one. He was about to fall into the seats from midcourt.
That's a shot you wouldn't shoot a horse.
A Mad Max night. Maxwell got the pick from Vlade inside, missed the pass to Divac. It'll be Utah ball. 40-33, Utah.
A lot of good tries by the Kings with their interior passing, but really, I think in many cases they overpass when they go into the lane like that.
8 turnovers for Sacramento tonight. Utah with only 4 so far. Pollard trying to defend Karl Malone. 6 on the shot clock. Malone tried the underhand scoop and drew the foul.
You know, that's just a simple case of an old veteran going against somebody who's still wet behind the ears, Bob. He baited him into that foul and then leaned in, had no place to go, and Pollard bailed him out.
That's 2 on Scott Pollard. Karl Malone gets to the free throw line 10.1 times per game. 77% free throw shooter. By the way, that 10.1 free throw attempts per game is good for 4th in the NBA. Karl at 23.4 points. That's 4th in the NBA in scoring.
Look at his free throw percentage. His first year, 62%, and this season, 77%. I have to appreciate that as an old ex-player in my sense, because we used to tease Karl at the free throw line. We used to like yell at him, we're going to put our hard hats on and tease him. So you can't tell me that the players these days can't get better at their free throws. You just got to work at it.
Divac past Ostertag. Stopped a 6-0 Jazz run.
I said, OT, you can't guard me.
3:04 to go in a half. Easley finds the middle uncovered. Missed his layup attempt though. Divac with the rebound back to Jason Williams. 42-35 Utah. Bad pass from Divac, but it was touched by Easley, so that's not an over and back, but the shot clock is still running down with 10. Stojakovic. Money from three-point land. Stojakovic with the triple. He shoots 33% from out there, averages 8.2 points a game. He's only 21 years old. Malone from 18.
I tell you what, Bob, I'm enjoying watching Jason Williams chase with Stockton all around the court.
He made a beautiful pass to Pollard. Pollard was all alone for the shot, looked to pass it to Stojakovic, and instead had to wait till he drew the foul. On their feet for the Kings. They love them here. 42-38 with 2:20 to go in the half.
To lean all the way into Wahad. He had no place to come down, and if I remember right, you have to let the defensive player, if he's in the air, come down.
Nevertheless, Brian Russell goes to the free throw line. Russell at 83% foul shooter. Game remains tied. Coming up, our AT&T halftime report. Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, and Peter Vesey in the studio. Scores and highlights from tonight's action, including that clobbering of L.A. by Portland in our first game, 113-86. Utah by 1, 43-42, 37 seconds in the period. Jason Williams has his pocket picked. Last off Williams, it'll be Utah ball. Sacramento with 9 turnovers.
Well, I don't know what everybody's yelling about because it was definitely off Jason Williams' foot.
Five Sacramento turnovers this period, 9 in the game. 8-second difference in the shot of the game clock. There's that floater from Hornacek.
Oh, that is so nasty, Bob. He just hesitated, gave him a little bit of a juke, and went to the hole with the floater.
7 points for Jeff. Behind the back, ill-advised pass from Jason Williams looking for Weber. Easley pull up at at the buzzer, 45-42, with 2 turnovers in the last 20 seconds from Jason Williams. And at the half, Utah leads it by 3. The AT&T halftime report will be coming just around the corner, and then we'll be back for what will...
But I love the fact that Karl Malone is really getting off to a good start. Vlade Divac is playing well also. But Karl Malone, for a big guy, great touch, soft from the perimeter, tough on the inside, and look at the form. But, you know, at that size, always falling back is kind of a funny shot at the same time. But then, of course, Vlade Divac finding a way to snake pass Ostertag. And then, of course, the reverse dunk in his face. I liked it. Not many times that he gets a chance to do that in the game.
There are the statistics at halftime. You see the rebounding that you mentioned, the difference. Kings 26-18. By the way, Divac had 10.7 rebounds. Malone 15 points and 3 rebounds in the first half. Cheryl Miller had a chance to talk with Sacramento coach Rick Adelman just moments ago.
One of the keys for tonight's game for this team to play efficiently at the offensive end. Did you get that done in the first half?
We did in just spurts. You know, we need, against this team, we need to push it up the court and get into stuff with movement. And we did too much standing around. We turned it over 10 times again, and we're only 3 down. If we just move the ball a little bit and take better care of it, you know, we can win this game. But we can't do it turn the ball over like we did.
All right, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Let's go back to you, Bob.
And we're underway here at Arco Arena with the Jazz leading by 3. Utah with the basketball. In the first half, we told you, Utah shot 42.9%, only 36.4% shooting for Sacramento. Malone, how did he find a hoop on that and the foul? And by the way, speaking of Sacramento's shooting woes, Jason Williams was only 1 of 6. Chris Webber only 2 of 8. And off the bench, Vernon Maxwell was 0 for 3.
Well, as Rick Adelman said, they can't continue to turn the ball over. Playing only well offensively in spurts. 10 turnovers in the first half. And of course, like I said, offensive rebounds, second shots. They're 5 of 8 on second shots, giving them some big-time basketball points.
Corliss Williamson handling the basketball. Back to Jason Williams. 5-point Utah lead. Portland is, as of right this moment, half a game ahead of Utah in the race for the best record in the Western Conference. Hook pass inside from Vlade Divac to Tariq Abdul Wahad.
I tell you what, he pulled himself up and slapped the backboard. Bob, you couldn't do that if you had a ladder.
Well, with a ladder, no, not so fast. Holding foul. Now let's take a look at this.
Abdul Wahad, look at this. This is just unbelievable. Bang! He grabs the backboard. I love it.
Corliss Williamson with his first foul. Hornacek got away from the steal attempt by Wahad. The rebound goes to Brian Russell. It's a new shot clock for Utah. The Jazz with 28 wins on the season. Portland's win tonight gives them 29. Both teams will be tied for the best record in the Western Conference if Utah is to win. Nice save by Brian Russell. Errant pass intended for Chris Webber. Those Sacramento turnovers we were talking about. 11 in the game now. Brian Russell driving past everybody. Wahad comes away with it. Tipped by Vlade Divac. Look at that pass from Jason Williams to Corliss Williamson. That's what they like about Jason Williams. Now, he's been shooting poorly in this game. He's turned the ball over several times, but when he does this, wow.
Well, as it stands right now, he's got 1 out of 4 of those type of passes in this game. He's got to learn to pick his spots, but when it goes, Bob, it's beautiful.
10-10 to go third period. 1 point, Utah lead. Malone defended by Chris Webber. Stockton inside of Jason Williams. Back to Malone. Stockton, Malone, Stockton.
But it was the second half of the play where they scored on. You watched them work the play backwards and forwards, and then the third option on the play is where they scored. That's the discipline that I was talking about offensively.
Chris Webber looking for some offense, still not finding it. Malone with the board. That's 5 rebounds for Karl Malone. He's the NBA's leading rebounder. We told you 12.9 per game, so he's down a little from his average in this game. Had the rest last night, didn't play against Vancouver. He was suspended for throwing a punch at Othello Harrington on Sunday in the game against the Rockets. Sacramento running. It's 4-on-3. Corliss Williamson has to go to the scoop shot, but followed by Vlade Divac. That's exactly what Rick Adelman was talking about, that Divac doesn't make it look pretty, but he makes it look very productive.
In other words, it goes in the home.
Yes. Yes. Vlade has 12 points, 8 boards in this game. Stockton. Brian Russell wants the three. Went in and all the way in and back out again. Wahad. Williamson. The flop from Brian Russell, the miss from Williamson. Weber, no look pass. Wahad! My, oh my! And that gives the Kings the lead by 1.
And that is exactly what Coach Adelman was talking about, creating the opportunity to run from defense to offense. Nice play, Weber with the interior pass, and Wahad finishing with a possible three-point play.
Brian Russell picked up his second personal, doesn't get the three-point play. Ostertag with a rebound.
The Kings in the last 2 possessions by the Jazz, great defense.
Stockton hits Brian Russell to Malone, who's fouled by Abdul Wahad.
And even that right there, at this juncture in the game, is a very good foul, because you don't let the Jazz come down after you've had a very inspirational couple plays and get something easy.
That's the third on Tariq. Karl back to the line yet again. Malone, 77% free throw shooter this year, and you talked about how he's improved year after year with his free throw shooting. As I say that, he misses, of course. Upcoming games on Turner Sports. Pacers at the Celtics on Friday night, then on TBS on Monday, those same Pacers at the Celtics. It's Sixers, then Celtics for the Pacers. Spurs, Jazz, and Lakers, Warriors in the double dip on TNT on Tuesday. Malone gets 1 out of 2. 50-50. Uh-oh, look out. Ostertag and Divac. Jerry Sloan out here to get in between them. Going to get double technicals here from Joey Crawford. Joey Crawford, Jim Clark, and Violet Palmer, the officials.
And watch this play down low. 2 big guys jostling for defensive position. I don't think they want to fight.
Divac with the penetration and the kick out. Jason Williams, oh yes, he'll take it. And make it. Jason Williams with the triple.
But you got to look at that as inspiration. Obviously, this crowd needed something to get behind the team, and Vlade produces that with his mouth.
Stockton on the drive. Hornacek, 5 on the shot clock. Back to Brian Russell for 3 from Brian Russell. Back-to-back threes. Jason Williams, by the way, hit his first 3 to open scoring in the game. Had not hit a field goal until that last triple. He has 6 points. It's tied at 53.
But he's not going to stop shooting. That's the one thing you love about the kid. He'll keep playing the game.
Weber. Jump hook hasn't been very effective for him tonight. It'll be King's ball.
Tell me you didn't call that a jump hook.
Well, jump hook fits. Weber is only 2 of 10 tonight. I did.
Oh, it's funny.
I'll cop to that. Divac, the center, driving and kicking. Oh, Jason Williams. That one was from Napa Valley.
He's streaky.
Had to be a 30-footer.
He's so streaky. It's amazing.
Nobody was looking. Stockton lobbed it in, but the block shot erases the basket attempt. Bad pass that time. Divac fouled hard by Ostertag. There's going to be some mighty difficult words here. Williamson right in Ostertag's face. That was a very hard foul. Divac is yet to get up. Divac was clotheslined when he went for that drive. Joey Crawford and Jim Clark sorting it out. Let's see what's happened. It looks like that they're throwing Ostertag out of the game. At least that was the indication. Hold on a second. They gave him the thumb. Ostertag headed off the court. Now he's back.
and they should throw him out. I'm all for a tough play and being physical, but after the altercation just before that, it's very obvious that Ostertag meant to take Vlade out, and it didn't look like he was trying to lay him down easy.
Yeah, Ostertag's been ejected from this game with 7:05 to go in the third period. Ostertag had only 4 points and 4 rebounds in the game tonight, and he's hearing it from the fans as he leaves the game.
No, I don't like to see that, because that's just Bush League. Vlade Divac obviously on a nice little roll there. Ostertag, very little effort to go after the ball. That's a flat clothesline, Bob.
Well, Ostertag's out of here, and Jerry Sloan will have to replace him with either Todd Fuller or Greg Foster. Divac appears to be okay.
Now, if you're Sacramento, you feed off of this. This is an opportunity to really feed off of it.
Vlade Divac, as you look at the technical foul being shot by Hornacek.
Now, that technical potentially could have been after the altercation on Corliss Williamson, because he ran up to protect his teammate. And if you're a teammate of Corliss Williamson, if you're the coach, Adelman, you go up and you shake his hands for trying to protect his teammate. Not getting into a fight, but letting Ostertag know that we didn't appreciate that.
Sorting that out, Reggie, the technical is on Williamson and also on Weber, and then the flagrant and the injection was on Ostertag. So now we'll get the 2 shots and the ball for the Sacramento Kings. It's 56-55 Sacramento.
And I love how the referees control the game. You look at the flagrant, you forget about all the other things that have happened, but those just as important as the flagrant when it comes to the scheme of the game itself.
So Divac gets the 2 free throws, and the Kings will get the ball back. And the Kings now lead it by 3, which is their biggest lead of the game. They only led at 3-2 early in the game. They were tied at 42 toward the end of the second quarter. And you see the Kings are on a 16-8 run of the last 15 with those 2 triples from Jason Williams. Todd Fuller has come into the ball game to replace Greg Ostertag, who is ejected. Offensive foul. And that's on Weber, and that's his 3rd personal.
Well, you got to know right now, if you're a player, I've seen this many times, the referees are going to be very ticky-tack in what they call so they don't lose control of this game.
Now we've got a technical on Adelman called by Joe Crawford. Technicals for everybody. The technical fine coffers will be growing as Hornacek goes back to the free throw line for yet another technical free throw.
Now watch this, Bob. The Jazz, also very smart, old veterans. Watch how many flops start happening from their end of the game.
Being aware that the officials will be sensitive.
Exactly. And they've been there before.
Third quarter. Hornacek, quick jumper over Wahad, rebound. Malone, back to Brian Russell. He'll take that 3. Brian Russell buries the 3, and he has in this game 4 triples. 59-58, Utah just like that re-grabs the lead. Weber, pass inside Divac. Todd Fuller was on the other side of the lane, and the only person with a chance to defend Divac was Hornacek. That mismatch led to the jam, and now, once again, the Kings have regained the lead by a point. Inside the Stockton.
Just working the UCLA pick to the tee. Stockton, Malone, and Jason Williams all over the court.
Wahad almost lost the ball. Down to Weber. Weber's step back jumper doesn't go. Having a real struggle tonight. Williamson with a big board. And it's going to be Utah ball. And we have a timeout called by the Sacramento Kings, trailing by a point. It's been wild and woolly out here in the Wild West. Sacramento battling for a playoff spot. Utah battling for the best record in the West. Divac, his face is taking a pounding. His modeling career may damaged here tonight.
Vlade Divac, this is putting your face into the game. taking punches all over the place.
Yeah, Fuller got him with that left hand. 4:08 to go, third period. 66-65 Utah. Chance for the Sacramento Kings to regain the lead. Here's Jason Williams working on Easley. Well, I would say, what was that?
It's an attempted home run.
Rick Adelman mentioned the word earlier today. Too many home runs.
Too many home runs.
But how about the back-to-back threes? You live and die with it, obviously.
Well, it's one of the things that have happened with the organization. They've found a way to be exciting. They live and die with their offense. But, of course, in this game today, if you can score almost 100 points, you can win.
3:40 to go on the third period. Go ahead inside. Chris Webber. There's that jump hook again.
I like his jump hook.
Offensive foul. Malone couldn't stop. Lowered his shoulder. There's another technical foul called in this game. We may set a record for technicals. It's on Malone.
He really didn't have anything to beef about. Wahad was definitely standing there flat-footed. Took a nice shot from Malone.
That looked like one of Karl's wrestling moves. Tariq over here talking to Reggie. What did he say, Reggie?
He said, "What, I can't take a charge anymore?" Right here, look at Malone. Really an ill-advised pass. Tariq standing there and really did take the charge and paid for it.
Karl needed helmet. 5 technicals have been called on players tonight. 1 has been called on Rick Adelman, so a total of 6 technicals in this game. 10 on the shot clock. Foul before the shot by Webber.
Bob, I like the direction of this team. The team makes a lot of mistakes. They got a lot of growth to go, but the way the organization's building this team, building what they've got going, they put some players out there that can score a lot of points. Now through trades and through the draft, they have to build the team so they can come back and play some defense.
Chris Webber, a career 55% free throw shooter, shooting only 44% this year. Does hit that one. Coming up on NBC Saturday night in the NBA, 8 o'clock showtime, 8:30 Lakers and Jazz on NBC on Saturday night. Williamson is hammered as he gets the rebound and tries to go to the hoop.
And second effort, just tremendous. Corliss Williamson showing us he wants to be in the game and finding a way to implement his offense.
Previous foul was on Easley. This one is on Shannon Anderson. And Corliss goes to the free throw line. He's only a 61% free throw shooter. Free throw shooting for the Sacramento Kings is not good, 66.4. They're 28th in the league. Tonight, however, shooting it well, 87%.
So much of the success of the Kings are going to revolve around the stability of the club.
3-point lead for Sacramento. Remember, Utah won there in overtime in February. Kings won here in overtime March 30th. So they're tied at 1 apiece in the series. Malone's fallaway doesn't go down, and it's picked up by Williamson. Been very active in this third quarter as Corliss. Jason Williams thought about the three. There's that behind-the-back dribble. And look at the pass. Oh, the crowd wanted Divac to get it, but Webber's back.
And that's okay. I tell you what, he gave him the same hand crossover and then put it behind his back, and then still found time to put it behind his ear to the open jump shot shooter. Tremendous.
Young man is exciting. 71-66, Sacramento. And now Jim Clark has a call, an offensive foul. Illegal offense is the call, and we have a timeout on the floor. We'll explain that to you when we come back. Sacramento, though, is up by 5 with 2:28 to go in the third. 36 hours to...
I tell you what, he puts it on a string right there, shows it to him, then puts it behind his back, then finds a way to get behind the ear to Vlade. Doesn't go, but the second effort, Chris Webber putting it in the hole. The Kings are feeding off of the skirmish with Ostertag being kicked out. They're playing like they want the game now, Bob.
Cheryl Miller.
This team out of the last timeout said, look, guys, there's too much one-on-one guys trying to take them off the dribble. That is not our game. Let's get back to being patient at the offensive end and moving the ball around.
Chris Webber finally finds the range with a jumper. Thanks, Cheryl. That was something that Jerry Sloan was worried about as he talked to us
He
before.
certainly was worried about it, Bob, but right now the Kings' offense is really taking off, and this team is very dangerous when they're shooting it well.
73-66 Sacramento, minute 51 to go in the third period. Illegal defense to call, I think on Thurl Bailey, whatever the... not on Thurl Bailey, obviously. It's Utah's ball. I'm not sure who it was on. Nevertheless, illegal defense on Sacramento. That's the first call, so it's sidelined out of bounds. Easley.
Now, a lot of what Jerry Sloan is talking about, being disciplined in their offense, is taking time off the shot clock. You see right there, they shot that ball with 6 seconds left on the shot clock. That keeps the Kings on defense, and it slows them down from getting into any type of early offensive rhythm. That's what I was talking about earlier, about deep discipline in their offense from the Jazz perspective.
Webber misses. Abdul Wahad with the rebound, and he draws the fall. He has been very active down low tonight, too, as Tariq. And that's on Thurl Bailey, his second personal. Wild and woolly third period with a minute 10 to go here at Arco Arena in Sacramento. And the Kings, who trailed by as many as 9, now holding a 5-point lead. And we're going to get a Sacramento substitution. Micheal Hawkins will check into the ball game. And Jason Williams will sit down.
Obviously, the Jazz have fallen into a really serious trap here with the Kings, letting the game become very helter-skelter, playing right into their tempo.
Webber with the rebound and the jump shot off the missed free throw, and it's 75-68 with a minute to go in the third period. Utah only scored 15 points in the second period. They're not doing much better here in the third. Hornacek in the lane, floater. Not this time. Bailey kept it alive. New shot clock. Hawkins trying to defend Hornacek. Hornacek can't get it. Divac lost it. Bailey threw it away. Abdul Wahad lobs inside to Williamson. Nothing happening there, but it's wild. Easley. Inside to Karl Malone, who had pinned Vlade Divac to get the lay-in. It's a 5-point Kings lead with 19 seconds to go in the period. Karl has 24 in this game.
How did he find room to squeeze by the baseline and Vlade to get that ball?
Pick and roll. Divac, nice pass inside. Corliss Williamson, the recipient of Divac's excellent pass, and he does pass it better and better every year.
It's a great body position by Corliss Williamson offensively.
That's the end of 3. A 16-point turnaround for Sacramento since they trailed by 9.
Feeding off the energy. Sometimes being a leader is just showing that you're not going to back down. Vlade Divac didn't do that, and of course Ostertag retaliating. And the Sacramento Kings letting that feed them and fuel them to get up 7 points in this fourth quarter.
3 on the shot clock. Williamson bails out the Kings. They're up by 9. Might point out that subsequent to the action there between Ostertag and Divac, it was a clothesline, and Ostertag was ejected from this game on the flagrant foul. Malone missing. Micheal Hawkins rebounding. This is the biggest lead of the game for Sacramento. They can even build on that with this possession. 11-12 to go, and Greg Foster is going to get in the game. It has hurt Utah not having Ostertag. Williamson. Corliss has come alive. Williamson with 18 points in the game, 14 in the third period and this beginning of the fourth. 81-70 Sacramento. You know, if Sacramento makes that 8th spot and Utah ends up having the best record in the Western Conference, these two teams could play in the first round.
Bob, there is nothing big nasty about this play. That's all finesse. Look at the big fella finding it out.
Offensive foul on Easley. Kings ball with an 11-point lead. Malone gets a rest, so Foster, Thurl, Bailey are the big men in there for Utah at the moment. Weber thought about the three. Got a hold on Brian Russell as he's just having a difficult time with Corliss Williamson. That's 4 on Russell.
Corliss Williamson, 6'7", 245. Brian has no chance in that low post with him. He's got 4 fouls. You got to go back to him.
And they do. This time on this side, Williamson just pulls up and hits the jumper. Corliss Williamson has 20. Knifing pass inside to Shannon Anderson. Corliss has hit his last 5 baskets for Sacramento. 83-72. Kings by 11. 10:06 to go.
And remember, we talked about at the beginning of the game that they had no answer for players off the bench, and this is one of the reasons.
Williamson finally misses. He had hit his last 5. Now Easley back. Malone resting. Stockton on the bench. So it's mostly second unit on the floor for Utah at this 9:45 mark of the fourth quarter. And Easley's shoelaces come untied. He was trying to tie it in the action. See it at the right side of the screen. There's the 12th turnover of the game for Utah. Kings ball. Timeout on the floor. They're on their feet at Arco. He's leading it by 11 with 9:36 to go in this ball game.
And this game has turned out to be exactly what Jerry Sloan feared most, a high-tech pickup basketball game with not a whole lot of structure.
Jerry said he didn't want his team to fall into that pattern. We've got yet another technical on the bench. It looked like it was called on John Barry. It's on Vernon Maxwell. John Barry jumped up to argue it, but it was called on Vernon Maxwell for comments made from the bench.
Well, they don't need that. The tempo is going their way. The energy is going their way. They don't need anything to distract them from the game elements right now.
Vernon Maxwell creates a disturbance even from the bench.
Hey, listen, he's maturing now. He's the one that's helping Jason with the Florida thing they got going on.
Jason had some trouble when he was at Florida. He was suspended down there, but he's certainly been a good citizen and played well since he was here. Shannon Anderson, speaking of Florida, from Florida's arch rival, University of Georgia. 83-75 Kings now. 9:09 to go in the ball game. Wahad loses the dribble. Shannon Anderson, 3-on-1. Russell. Look out, Utah after that timeout. They come climbing back, pulled to within 6 and on a 7-0 run. And now Rick Adelman wants and gets the timeout. 8:54 to go from Arco.
Go, Tay.
Utah was down 13. Sloan called a timeout. Since then, they came back, scored 7 straight points. Two of them coming off this turnover.
Well, right now, the Jazz have 26 points off of 17 turnovers for the Kings. And I tell you what, they got to find a way to make it happen. And defensively is one way to get it done, even if that was a foul by Shannon Anderson, which I thought it was.
4 points off the turnover. 7-0 in only a minute 50. 8:40 to go in the game. Weber to Stojakovic, making his first appearance in this half of the ball game, and he opens with a 3, and it's back to a 9-point lead. Boy, these Kings do have weapons, inside or out. Loose ball. Look at him scramble this. Russell. Badly missed on that 3. Stojakovic, remember, watch him handle the ball. He's 6'9".
Great call, Bob.
As I say that. Come on, Peja. Trying to give you some good pub.
Oh, that's great.
But believe me, he does handle the ball well.
Of course he does.
He is 6'9", 230 pounds, only 21 years old. One of the better rookies this year, along with Jason Williams in the NBA. Now we've got a loose ball foul.
and at 6'9", Bob, he handles the ball and goes to the hole. I love his drive and kick game. He does it extremely well, but I think that's something that they just teach in Europe. All European players, it seems like, shoot the ball well from the perimeter and have that drive and kick game.
That foul, by the way, was on Lawrence Funderburk, number 51, who's in playing against Greg Foster. Thurl Bailey left alone. Rebound, Stojakovic. I asked Adelman if Stojakovic reminded him. Yet another foul, offensive on the wave off from Funderburk. Asked Adelman if Stojakovic reminded him any of Tony Kukoc in Chicago, both being big ball-handling players who could be two guards. And he said, really not much. Stojakovic is a much stronger, more physical player and more finesse from Kukoc.
Tony wants no parts of being physical.
Stojakovic seems to be a pretty strong physical player.
Well, he's built a little closer to the ground at 6'9".
Now, Malone and Stockton are back in. Malone made that pass to Thurl Bailey, who was fouled by Corliss Williamson, his second. Kings still lead by 9 with 7:30 to go.
Bob, the last 2 times down.
Look at the difference in the point differential, Reggie, while that was on the screen. When John Stockton's in the game. That's why they need him back out here right now.
Well, that's why they let him play with the second unit a lot, too. It's to try to keep that balance. Right now, they need some balance in their game to get back into things.
Thurl Bailey can cut the lead back to 7. Utah really needs this game. Of course, their primary goal in winning an NBA championship, which they're still seeking with the Bulls out of the picture now, is to have the best record in the West, hopefully the best record for them in the NBA. But Portland is now half a game ahead of Utah in the Western Conference with their 29th victory coming at the hands of LA tonight. Stockton stepping in, stealing it from Peja Stojakovic, and the pass to Russell. So just like that, Stockton comes in, puts the brakes on, and this 13-point lead by the Kings have been cut to 5.
And some of what's happened, the Kings played a couple of good defensive stops, but couldn't score on the other end. Stockton comes into the game, obviously picks up the points, picks up the defense, and the Jazz back on a roll.
The turnovers. But how about the whole game stats?
Well, right now, 30 points off the 20 Sacramento turnovers. That's incredible.
6:51 remaining. Weber has been quiet. Tried to hit a very difficult pass inside to Stojakovic, who was making a run to the rim. And that's the 21st turnover for the Kings in this game.
Kings last 4 times down, not able to capitalize on some great opportunities.
Stockton inside to Little John Stockton, or Malone passed it into Stockton. Jason Williams back into the ball game for the Kings. So the Kings have Corliss Williamson, Stojakovic, Chris Webber, and Divac on the floor. Utah on a 13-3 run, and that 13-point lead's been cut to 3. Jason Williams. Too much stuff on that intended pass to Corliss Williamson. Cheryl, what do you have for us?
Bob and Reggie, one thing that Coach Adelman said, they had to be efficient at the offensive end, and that meant cherishing each possession at the offensive end, not turning the ball over, and he's really concerned with the team being smart down the stretch.
Yeah, they have 22 turnovers, Cheryl. Good point.
And always an issue with the Sacramento Kings.
Shannon Anderson misses, saved by Brian Russell.
They got that wild hair that you love and you hate. Because in the fourth quarter, they don't change gears. They still play the same kind of basketball they start the game with, and you have to change gears in the fourth quarter.
Malone missing, however, got his own offensive board in the stick back. And now it is a 1-point Kings lead. So the 13-point lead has been cut to 1.
And so typical of the Sacramento Kings in this respect, turnovers, bad shots, and then not being able to stop the Jazz on the offensive end.
Illegal defense called on Utah. Karl Malone, by the way, after that basket, updates you on his scoring. He has 26 in the ball game. There's Jerry Malone ties Chuck Daly as the Prince of Pessimism. Jerry Sloan ties Chuck Daly as the Princess of Pessimism. Divac. Missed badly. Russell with a rebound. A chance for Utah to regain the lead. Stockton tried to thread the needle. Kings ball.
Bob, you didn't say it. Never trust winning. Or never trust happiness.
That's checked. And Jerry. Attempted lob into Weber. You know, go back to these coaches talking to us. Rick Edelman said that play there is a good example of what he does not want his team to do. He says he's in a dilemma. He does not want to take away the creativity and explosiveness of his team, so he wants to leave them free, but at the same time, he wants to limit their number of boneheaded plays.
Well, at some point or another, the light has to come on.
Whoa! And the foul, just as we're talking about it. They come down, Divac tries the lob, Adelman's pointing to his head like, come on, think a little bit. And then they come down and go to the mustard again, this time effectively.
Well, when it works for him, it's beautiful. Too many times it doesn't. But as you see, this is a team that's not afraid to pass to each other, and that's a good thing. The fact is they have to learn how to tone it down. Like I said a few minutes ago, in the fourth quarter, you got to go to your bread and butter. It's nut-cracking time. You can't throw flyers. You got to work with your shot selection. And definitely, on the fast break, you got to make the game simple.
Hornacek back in the ballgame. Shannon Anderson will sit down. Corliss Williamson at the free throw line has 21 points in this game. He's flawless from the line, 7 of 13 from the field. Corliss 7 out of 7 at the free throw line tonight, and the Kings regain the lead, 88-85, 4:24 remaining here at Arco. The Jazz lose this game tonight. They will also lose possession of first place in the Western Conference. Portland won tonight. Stockton, pull-up jumper, wanted to foul, didn't get it.
See, Bob, I think that's the way you play the pick and roll. You force Stockton to the baseline. You make him think shot before trying to give it up on the strong side and the weak side.
Still trying to work with Weber, now this time against Thurl Bailey. Weber scores this time. He backs Thurl in a little easier than he backs in Karl Malone.
And you could see the body language and the rhythm that he was in on that shot. 2 little shakes to the left and then strong to the right.
90-87 Sacramento. Weber has 13 points and 12 rebounds in this game. Stockton to the hoop, past Jason Williams. Goaltending on Divac, count the basket.
And you remember me saying this in the meeting, they're going to force baseline. The question is, are they going to get rotation in the back line? Twice now, they didn't get any help going to the hole.
Kings by a point. Going right back to Weber. This time the spin inside on Bailey, and he draws the foul. Now, that's good news and bad news. Chris Weber, not a good free throw shooter. Let's check the team foul situation. Both have committed 3, so obviously Weber won't shoot the free throws here. It'll be inbounded on the sideline with Peja, Stojakovic, and now Foster is in for Thurl Bailey. Remember, Greg Ostertag was ejected in this game. And Stojakovic hits the perimeter jumper. It's 92-89.
Now twice they've gone pick and roll. On the strong side and on the weak side. They changed it both times. This time they go from the bottom half.
Jason Williams just getting screwed by Stockton. Foster gets the roll, and it's back to a 1-point game.
Quick pick and rolls. 3 pick and rolls in that one play. And Foster ends up with a jumper.
Weber's going to work on Foster now. They got a clear out for him. Here comes the double team. Pass inside to Corliss Williamson. Hornacek got inside of Vlade Divac, something Hornacek does that he rarely gets enough credit for, in my opinion, and that is rebound the ball. He averages 3 rebounds a ball game, but he gets some critical rebounds in important situations. Chance for the Utah Jazz to take the lead. Stockton from the free throw line. Doesn't get it. Weber with the rebound. Got a loose ball foul on Utah. That foul will be on Foster, his first.
Bob, that's 5. The last 5 possessions for the Jazz, they have went pick and roll with Stockton and Malone to gain control of their offense, to run some clock, and also they know where the shots are coming from, and you allow John Stockton to dictate who's going to get the shots when they do that.
Stockton wanted to call timeout, and Joe Crawford wouldn't give it to him. It's a 1-point game with 2:11 to go. Jazz have now committed 14 fouls. Down the shot clock, Jason Williams with the pass to Divac. Couldn't handle it to Stojakovic from the corner. Out of position for the shot. And it doesn't go. Minute 51 to go in the ball game. 92-91. Utah can take the lead on this possession. Both previous games have been like this one. Both were overtime. Utah won there. Sacramento won here. Malone on the drive couldn't get the foul or the basket to go. And now the Kings come back. Look at that pass from Webber. From Jason Williams to Webber, and there's a foul committed. That's the 5th personal foul. 15 foul on Utah. And that means Webber will shoot the free throw.
And that was such a great look-off. He looked John Stockton all the way into the stands with the idea all the time to pass it to Webber on the back door. Great instincts.
Russell's 5th foul, Reggie. Webber misses a free throw. I told you, he's 44% from the line this year, 55% career. And he gets to the line a lot, does Webber, so that becomes a very significant negative statistic. 93-91 Kings, minute 26 to go. Kings have a foul to give in this 2-minute period. Utah over the limit. Stockton right past Jason Williams to Greg Foster. 17-footer won't fall. Webber got up, lost the board, but the Kings come back with it. Williamson controlled that ball on a bad pass.
That was
to go.
And look at Jason Williams holding the play up, not getting into any rush. They have the lead. The clock's in their favor. The young kid just did a really bright thing in
Shot
this
clock
game.
to 5. Divac knows that. It's blocked by Karl Malone. Russell went down holding his knee. And Utah gets a timeout. Russell's up. Looks to be okay. 93-91. Kings. Utah has the ball. So the Kings wasted an opportunity to build a bigger lead, and now Utah can tie it. See the reset there with the fouls to give. Sacramento has one. The Kings lead it by 2, but they wasted a golden opportunity on their last possession, Reggie.
Well, I thought Jason Williams did a great thing by having an opportunity to hold it up, use the clock because you're up by 2, but you got to have a game plan. You got to have a go-to plan. And right here, with 14 seconds, Vlade Divac holds the ball until he has to be forced into a bad situation. No place to go. No real continuity on that offensive play, and that was a crucial offensive set for them because the Jazz have an opportunity to go and tie the ball game or go up by 1 with the 3-point play.
4 ties, 7 lead changes in this game tonight. 40 seconds remaining. Kings by 2. Stockton driving, gets it on a called play from the sidelines. Thurl Bailey gets the lay-in. It is tied at 93.
And the reason that play works, John Stockton's so aggressive coming off that pick, had an opportunity to score.
Webber against Bailey. He was successful against Bailey earlier. And is again the 2-point lead for the Kings. 20 seconds remaining in the game. We may be facing the 3rd overtime in the 3 meetings between these two teams this year. Stockton fouled by Divac.
You gotta find a way to make a stop under these circumstances. Especially don't bail them out with the shots. Going to the free throw line. John Stockton shoots 82% from there. He had no place to go. Vlade Divac left his feet, and John Stockton did the veteran thing, take the contact and keep going.
First time at the free throw line tonight for John Stockton. He has 10 points in the game with 6 assists. 1 point Kings lead with 11.9 seconds remaining. 11.9 could be 4 possessions with these two teams.
Well, you have to know that if it goes down to a tie ball game, we're probably going to get a timeout here, and there's no reason the Kings should let the Jazz get another shot at the basket. You either win it or go into overtime.
95-95. Of course, that's not the Kings game, but Rick Edelman will be telling them now, leave it tied or take a shot at the buzzer. Tied at 95, 11.9 to go. Up next inside the NBA with Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, and Peter Vesey. Playoff picture update, and Doc Rivers interviews with Tim Duncan and David Robertson. What do the Kings do now?
Right now, Bob, I have to believe that you go to the player that is not being guarded by Karl Malone and really go to the post and let the clock run out and take a shot with about 5 seconds.
Malone's guarding Divac. They're looking for Weber with 8 seconds to go.
And that's what we were worried about.
Karl Malone deflected that attempted pass. Utah calls the timeout with 4.9 seconds and plenty of time to get a shot or a foul. And remember, Utah is a very good free throw shooting team, second in the NBA. And that's the 24th Sacramento turnover.
95 all, and why is Vlade Divac waving people away, handling the ball out on the perimeter? He's a great passer from the post position. No reason Vlade Divac should be handling that ball under those circumstances out on the floor.
Yeah, nobody guards Divac out there, so it's
so he's not a threat.
It's an automatic double team for Chris Webber down on the post. Well, easy for us to say now. They put some tenths back on the clock, tenths of seconds. 5.3 to go for Utah. It's tied at 95. Stockton past Divac. We've got overtime for the third time this season. These teams are playing their third matchup of the season. Every game has gone to overtime. Utah won in overtime there in February. Sacramento won in overtime here March 30th. So we have 5 minutes of free basketball coming your way from Arco Arena. Overtime, Kings 3-2 on the season in overtime. Jazz had a chance to win this ball game with 5 seconds left.
Well, the Kings did a good thing of putting Wahad on Stockton, but right here, Stockton shakes him, takes it to the hole. It's a good thing because Stockton has the ability to make the shot. He's also an 82% free throw shooter. Nice defense up top, but of course, Vlade Divac picks Stockton up. That 7-foot frame makes Stockton have to throw it up a little bit higher than normal. That ball was on its way in the hole.
Yeah, Stockton would have taken the wing jumper had not Vlade Divac been there. But now we have 5 minutes to go in the overtime, tied at 95. And interestingly enough, you'd think that the Jazz would be the more successful team in overtime, being the veteran club that they are. But they are 1-4 on the season, including an overtime loss to Sacramento here on March 30th. And by the way, the Jazz on a 7-game win streak right now. Their last loss was that March 30th overtime defeat.
Well, I think the Kings right now have momentum on their side. Playing at home under these circumstances is a plus for them. You have to remember also, extra time period, the Jazz are on a real hectic schedule where they also played last night.
Yeah, this is their 5th game in 6 nights. This is what they need is overtime. We've got a foul on Williamson trying to hold Brian Russell. That's the 3rd on Corliss. This is where a reminder, Reggie, let me tell everybody that Greg Ostertag was ejected in the 3rd period and won't be here to play for Utah in this overtime. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, this is just a period of time where you really have to concentrate defensively. The Kings, not a great defensive team. They have to come up with a couple of stops in this extra period.
And a defensive rebound. Greg Foster got that offensive board. Tied at 95, 4:30 to go in the overtime. Jason Williamson defending Stockton the best he can. That ball, it looked like it was out of bounds off Divac, but they're going to say it's King's ball. Jim Clark gave it King's ball, but Joe Crawford is now going to overrule that and say, I saw it go off with Vlade Divac. And Utah will retain possession. Well, that was popular.
Well, you know they're going to go for the pick and roll, but right here, you can obviously see that ball hits Vlade Divac in the hands.
Yeah, Jim Clark out of position to make the call. He was standing near the half-court line, and Joey Crawford was down to the baseline so he could see it. So we have 10 seconds on the shot clock. 4:26 to go in overtime.
Tired of doing that.
And the Jazz will have the ball, but with only 10 seconds to shoot.
If you're the Sacramento Kings, you want to try to make the Jazz shoot and win this game from the perimeter. The inside stuff will really kill them.
There's the perimeter from Stockton. New shot clock. Malone with the rebound. That's 3 offensive rebounds.
And 2 in this period already.
Stockton. Foster. Weber finally gets a defensive board, and the Kings tied at 95, have the ball back with a minute elapsed in the overtime period.
And Vlade Divac did a great thing, was very vocal on that high pick and roll.
After Weber against Foster. 10 on the shot clock. They've isolated for Weber. They get Stojakovic in the lane. Wow, nice play by Peja Stojakovic, the rookie from Yugoslavia. Kings by 2. The Jazz had all kinds of opportunities. 3 shot opportunities on that last possession. Couldn't do it. Foul away from the ball. Here's a look at Stojakovic in the lane. That foul on Corliss Williamson.
Peja at 6'9".
Ball, Jim Clark gave it King's ball, but Joe Crawford is now going to overrule that and say, I saw it go off of Vlade Divac. And Utah will retain possession. Well, that was popular.
Well, you know they're going to go for the pick and roll, but right here, you can obviously see that ball hits Vlade Divac in the hands.
Yeah, Jim Clark out of position to make the call. He was standing near the half-court line, and George Crawford was down to the baseline so he could see it. So we have 10 seconds on the shot clock, 4:26 to go in overtime.
Tired of doing that.
And the Jazz will have the ball, but with only 10 seconds to shoot.
If you're the Sacramento Kings, you want to try to make the Jazz shoot and win this game from the perimeter. The inside stuff will really kill them.
There's the perimeter from Stockton. New shot clock. Malone with the rebound. That's 3 offensive rebounds.
And 2 in this period already.
Stockton. Foster. Weber finally gets a defensive board, and the Kings, tied at 95, have the ball back with a minute elapsed in the overtime period.
And Vlade Divac did a great thing, was very vocal on that high pick and roll.
Back to Weber against Foster. 10 on the shot clock. They've isolated for Weber. They get Stojakovic in the lane. Wow, nice play by Peja Stojakovic, the rookie from Yugoslavia. Kings by 2. The Jazz had all kinds of opportunities. 3 shot opportunities on that last possession. Couldn't do it. Foul away from the ball. Here's a look at Stojakovic in the lane. That foul on Corliss Williamson.
Peja at 6'9", got great hands and a real nice look down low. That's the kind of offense they need right now. That's why he's in the game in this period.
Corliss Williamson with 4 personals. Kings up by 2. Malone got inside, and that's going to be a foul on Malone as he stepped inside of Weber. And that'll give the ball back to the Kings and a chance to extend their 2-point lead to 4.
Karl Malone just giving a little bit of a push on the flight. He does it all the time, and of course he doesn't get caught all the time, so it's a good play.
You know the Utah Jazz are tired. 5th game in 6 nights, including playing last night in Salt Lake City. Stojakovic almost lost it, but Weber now has it. Cross-court pass to Peja, to Vlade Divac. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Weber, 1 second. That's a violation. Shot clock expired. And once again, the Sacramento Kings in their half-court set, when they go to a half-court set of disciplined basketball, they have trouble coming up with a shot attempt.
Well, that's because they don't have a bread-and-butter play.
The pass into Malone and 1. Stockton and Malone doing the damage this time. That'll tie the game, and the free throw will give the Jazz a 1-point lead.
And did I say bread and butter? You know that this is what's going to happen. On the slip, Karl Malone doing his thing. This is a play that down the stretches of games, you don't even have to think about because you know that that's where the Jazz are going to go. Obviously, on the other end, when it becomes a half-court game, Bob, as you were talking about, the Kings don't have a bread-and-butter play.
Karl Malone only 6 of 11 from the line. So it remains tied at 97 with 2:40 to go in overtime. Portland won tonight. They have a half-game lead on Utah for the best record in the Western Conference as of right now. Chris Webber, jump hook, Foster, in and out of there. And Foster comes up with a loose ball.
See, Bob, when your bread and butter play is to throw it in the post and let the guy go one-on-one, the defense is set behind you. You got no movement, you got nothing. Now watch the Jazz on their offensive sets. They're going to find a way to go pick and roll, and it opens a half a court up.
Look at Stockton use Malone. Found Malone at the elbow. Malone faked the shot, then drove the lane. And now it's 99-97 Utah, and Karl Malone has 30. Remember, he has relatively fresh legs because of the Sunday suspension. He missed last night's game and got the rest. Williamson powers into the lane. Finley balls out to Utah. Utah up by 2. Stockton. Foster. Utah by 4. Minute 43 to go. Rick Adelman wants a timeout and gets it. 6-0 Utah run. 101-97 with a minute 43 remaining in overtime at Arco Arena. In overtime, and the Jazz have scored inside.
Well, it's the bread and butter. Even on this play, the Kings made a good stop, but because Stockton opened the court up, Malone finds a way to get it in the hole. And then, of course, on the break, look right here. Foster, the fourth man in a 3-man fast break. Stockton looks to the right, looks to the left, doesn't see anybody, and gives it to the trailer. How many times do you see Stockton do that and use everybody on the floor? Oh, I love that.
Yes, you do. Apparently you do. The Jazz have 3 field goals, Reggie, in this overtime. Stockton has assists on all 3.
Absolutely. And part of the reason is because you know he is in control down the stretch. That they don't need to go anyplace else because they have a guy on the floor that is going to find the open people.
101-97. Utah. Pick and roll this time with Stojakovic and Weber. Jason Williams turns it over. That is the 26th turnover in this game for the Kings, and with a minute 25 to go, Utah builds their lead to 103-97, a lead of 6 points. They've scored 8 straight points.
And the last time the Jazz lost here, they had 26 turnovers.
Stojakovic comes back with the 3, and it's a 3-point game. The Cardiac Kings. Mercy. 107 to go. The Kings could come up with a defensive stop. I'm not sure they can smell it or spell it.
That's cold out.
Stojakovic with the personal foul.
The last 3 times down, Bob, it's been Stockton, Malone, taking all the shots, basically. In this offensive set here, like we said, even though it's pick and roll on one side, they don't forget about the weak side, and that's learning and knowing your roles. The other guys on the Jazz team, they feed off of Stockton and Malone. They wait for you to fall asleep, looking at them, and then just like Foster did, step in the lane and receive a crip.
Inside the NBA coming up right after this overtime game. This is Foster's first time at the line tonight. He misses them both. So Utah up by 3, under a minute to go in overtime. And Sacramento calls a timeout. It's a 20. Without this sounding too harsh, perhaps they can come up with a better play than they have previously.
Well, you know, you go away from some of the things that got you where you were in the ball game. Obviously, I like to see Webb down on the low post to do his thing, but all of a sudden, unlike the Jazz, when they go to the post, the game stops. There are really no other passes going to happen.
Well, let me ask you this. Do the Kings go for a 3 here, down 3, with 53 seconds to go? They're only a 32% three-point shooting team. That's 20th in the league.
Well, there's a couple of ways to look at that. Obviously, if they were a pretty good defensive team, you go for a quick 2 and then play defense. But this team has a way of making big shots. Maybe they go for it.
Yeah, the Kings are 8 of 13 on 3s tonight.
But the point is they're in a half-court set right now, and tonight they have not been able to get anything in their half-court set.
Nearly had another turnover. 7 seconds, 5 seconds. Jason Williams can't even get a look. The lean-in double clutch with 1 on the shot clock, but Divac runs down the loose ball. 33 seconds to go in the game.
Now,
Utah by 3.
I call another timeout.
Divac misses the 3. And Stockton comes up with the ball with 21 seconds. Hornacek just holding on to it. Jerry Sloan almost on the floor. You see him coaching there on the right side of the screen. They foul Hornacek with 12.6 to go. And, of course, Jeff is an 88% free throw shooter. I say, of course, because he's up there all the time. That's good enough for 7th in the league. And the Kings fans who've been treated to another wild and woolly game here tonight, heading for the exit with 12.6 to go, and Hornacek at the line. But with the Kings, I don't know if I want to leave yet. I know I don't want to leave yet. Hornacek 4 out of 4 from the line tonight.
You know, Bob, the Kings having basically 2 full timeouts left in that last play where they were forced to take another 3, I would have probably called a timeout and try to set something up. Try to get something in the half-court game, especially if you have a couple timeouts left.
Hornacek hits them both. 12.6 to go. Now Kings timeout, trailing by 5 with 12.6. We'll be back to Arco in a moment. We're in overtime to tie the game and then take this 5-point lead here in the overtime period. It's been a wild one.
It's been a really wild, a lot of times ugly basketball. Not much discipline going on or structure going on. Really a high-tech half-court, full-court park game. That's when I kind of look at it. But very exciting for the fans, and I think the Kings kind of let one slip away.
Okay, Kings call the timeout. 12.6 seconds in the NBA, as you know, is a long time. Kings will go for, what, a 2 here, maybe the foul, or a 3 here in the foul.
All right, Bob, maybe I'm pessimistic, but hey, look, they need a 5-point play. Unless they score with 2 seconds on the clock, you know that Utah's going to be shooting free throws.
And Micheal Hawkins in here. Chris Webber takes the 3. Karl Malone with the back tip. Right into the hands of Webber, however. To Micheal Hawkins. Jason Williams will take it from way downtown and miss it as the clock runs out, and the Kings lose to Utah 105-100, and this is the 8th consecutive win for the Utah Jazz, who were playing tonight their 5th game in 6 nights. In Sacramento, a big loss because the Kings battling for that 8th and final playoff spot, and Utah now tied with Portland for the best record in the West with 29 wins apiece, and Cheryl is with the mailman.
Thanks a lot, Bob. With me, obviously, Karl Malone. Karl, what is it about this Sacramento team that seems to push you guys to your very limits?
Well, Cheryl, the first thing is they got a better team than what their record